everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today for this Pilates class. This is Pilates for runners, and this is a class that is designed for runners, and I will be referring to specific structures of the body and how when we work them through Pilates, that can benefit your running. It is a class, of course, that is suitable though for everybody. It does not matter if you're running or if you currently run or you want to run or you never run or you're never going to run. This is Pilates, and Pilates is for everyone. So I invite you to join me here in this class and find how Pilates can be of huge benefit to you. That is indeed why I started Pilates, because I found that it was really great for my running, and then that is why I continued on and became a teacher. So let's come together. We're gonna come down onto the mat, starting flat on your back. Take your hands to your ribs. Just allow your back to release underneath your shoulders, and just feel yourself start to come steady now through your breath. Allow your ribs to expand and close down. We all know, of course, how important breath is for our running. And so I invite you to really get curious about how your breath is coming in and out of your body. Notice how your ribs expand. Do they go to the front, to the back, to the sides? Or is it more of a shallow breath and you have to really work to fill yourself up? Take your time with this and allow it to be a bit of a mindful action as well, where you connect your mind to your breath and reduce any other distractions or voices or head trash talk that is coming out to play. And when you create this connection between your breath and your mind, you open up a very focused time and ability, and you can transfer this from the mat to your running as well. You can consider it part of your mental training work that we all know is very important for improving our running performance. Now take your hands down to your pelvis. Heels of your hands on your ASIS bones. You may refer to those as your hip bones or the bony landmarks on either side. Bring your fingers down towards your pubic bone to form a triangle. Posterior tilt your pelvis, imprint your spine into the mat. Anterior tilt, bring it up. Now you have probably heard a lot about pelvis positioning in running, and you can continue on now at your own pace to go through your posterior, imprinting, anterior, lifting up. And we could go into a big long discussion about the proper positioning of your pelvis during running, but one thing that is true for everybody is that your pelvis needs to be able to be mobile. So we don't want it locked into any one position, right or wrong. We want pelvic mobility, and we're allowing you now to move through that pelvic mobility. So really get dramatic about it if you wish, feeling that you're imprinting your spine and the pelvis is really tipping right up here. And then anterior tilt going down the other way, really getting that natural curvature of your spine underneath. Posterior tilt, draw your belly in, ribs together. Anterior tilt, lift up. Start to connect this with your breath. Exhale, drawing your belly in, imprinting your spine, core engages. Inhale, release. So as you exhale in posterior tilt, feel that you start to get that deep core connection, wrapping your belly up, bringing your ribs in, lifting your pelvic floor. Anterior tilting, it releases. In Pilates, the points of relaxation and release are just as important as the points of tension and contraction. Find that balance. Now bring your hands down and maintain your neutral pelvis. And we're gonna go through some spinal articulation. Feet plant on the floor, knees and legs together. Exhale, draw your belly in, posterior tilt your pelvis. drawing yourself up, articulating through one vertebrae at a time, reaching the top, and articulating your way back down. Again, continue here at your own pace. Find some length in your spine from your tailbone up through to the crown of your head, and feel that you are peeling yourself off underneath, drawing your belly in, ribs together. Shoulders are relaxed and released at the top, and then you come back down. I want you to get this really intentional sensation of articulating up one vertebrae at a time. When we think about running, we are standing upright, our spine is upright, and we are compressing and compacting it down constantly with each step. And so when we move through an articulation like this, it allows space to be created in between your vertebrae, and this reduces any pain you may experience or experience in the future in your back. Now pause when you're down on this one. Take your feet and legs about hip width apart, and we're going to start to get some hamstring connection. So before we move, I want you to pull your heels towards your butt and feel that you're digging them in. So they're not really going to move at all, you're just getting that sensation of pulling in. And then release. Again, exhale. Feel that sensation like you're drawing your heels towards your sits bones, and you should feel your hamstrings turn on here. Release, go again. Exhale, draw your belly in, core works, get that connection. A little bit of sneaky hamstring work here to help improve your running extension in your stride. Now this time we're going to integrate that with your pelvic bridge. So on your exhale, posterior tilt your pelvis. Feel that connection as you're drawing your heels forward, and then peel yourself up. Reach the top, ribs come together. Articulate your way back down. Go again, hamstring connection. Lift your pelvic floor, articulating up, starting with your posterior tilt. One of the principles of Pilates is concentration. So if you're finding it a lot to feel this activation in your hamstrings and bring your heels in and articulate your spine, totally fine. That is normal. And this is why Pilates is a practice that we get to indeed practice all the time. Now stay up on this one. Leave your right foot on the floor, still having that hamstring activation. Extend your left leg out, lift and lower. So hamstring and glute work here on the right side. Hips and pelvis staying in the same spot. Core is working. Feel that you're being wrapped up around your middle, drawing your belly in. Ribs are coming together, not flaring out to the ceiling. 3, 2, last one. Step your foot down, articulate your way back down. Take a second and do any little movement that you need to. We're going to set up again and come through for your left side. Hamstring activation, draw your belly in, posterior tilting. Core is engaging, relaxing your shoulders, letting them release underneath of you. Stay on your left, lift your right, lift and lower. You might feel a little bit of a hamstring twinge on that right side because we just worked it, and now we're lengthening it out. Try not to let your ribs go up. Keep drawing your belly in, wrapping yourself up. 3, 2, last one. Very good. Planting down, articulating your way back down. Hug your knees in for a second. Just moving from side to side, allowing that little bit of a release. And now we're going to deepen the work for your hamstrings. So I want you to bring your heels together and imagine you're creating a V with them, and then place the bottoms of them down onto the floor. If you're familiar with Pilates or bar, then this is your first position is what I'm getting at. So you're externally rotated here, your hips, knees track over your toes, hands by your sides. You're not going to move, but again, feel your heels pulling towards your sits bones and get that hamstring activation. Release from there. Again, exhale, draw your belly in, pulling in, and then release. This time we're going to integrate it in with your bridge. So you exhale, draw your belly in, posterior tilt your pelvis, peeling up. More work on your hamstrings this time. Get that little glute squeeze at the top. And then articulate your way back down. If your hamstrings weren't quite working, you can move your feet out a little bit. Get a little bit more engagement. Exhale, draw your belly in, pull towards you. Feel that you exhale, squeeze your glutes in at the top, ribs together, articulate your way back down. So your glutes and hamstrings are your hip extension muscles. They allow your leg to go back during your stride in running. Really important to strengthen them. For that, as well as to avoid any high hamstring tendinopathy issues, which are a common injury. Pilates is about injury resiliency. Last one here, exhale, draw your belly in, really find that strong connection, ribs together, core is working, articulate your way back down. Excellent job. Now we're gonna roll over to your right side, lengthen yourself out here. We're gonna do some work or continue on with some work for your glutes. So we have all heard multiple times about the importance of having strong glutes for your running. So bend both of your knees. Feel that your core is turned on. You should have this little space underneath here, not allowing yourself to just kind of be slouched down on the mat. Heels are together. Everything in line with the back edge of the mat. And then open and close. Now you can do this flat down as I am, or you can bring yourself up, head into your hand. What I want you to really be focusing on though, is that we now have taken that neutral pelvis that we had flat, turned it on its side. Imagine that you are wrapping up behind you and that you're trying to have your glute and hamstring squeeze together in the back. Very similar sensation to when we had the external rotation a second ago in your bridge, drawing your heels in towards your sits bones. Find that resistance, hips stay stacked. Last 3. 2. Last 1. Now extend your top leg out, sweep it forward, press it back. Again, really asking for that connection right from your center, hip flexion here. Find when you fold that you're not bringing your leg in or dumping your hip backward. Really find that it's coming from your core. Deep hip flexion. Hip flexion and working your hip flexors, of course, is important for your running. We run in the sagittal plane, flexing at the hip. Try to find length through your spine as you do this. 3, 2, last 1. Now hold it out long, external rotation, back to parallel. External rotation, back to parallel. So I'm rotating my femur in my hip socket. This is a exercise for hip mobility. Running, of course, requires good hip mobility, and we get to practice it here by rotating externally in your hip socket. 3, 2, last 1. Maintain external rotation. Bend, knees together, toes together. Internal rotation, external rotation. Still working on that hip mobility. Still checking in here with your core and pelvis, feeling that work for the stabilization. Feel this right in your glute where it meets your hamstring. That's where we want, right back in your glute med. Not so much your glute max, so not really your butt cheek. A little bit deeper than that. 3, 2, and last 1. Excellent. Now roll over completely onto your back. Take that left leg, crossing it over. And just allow this nice little stretch to come through for your glute here. And then place both of your feet on the floor. And we're going to move through a sequence to work your deep abdominals and your rectus abdominis. So your rectus abdominis is your six-pack muscles across the front. Your deep abdominals, when we talk about those, we're talking about your obliques, transverse abdominals. And we want to work all of those during this core series. So take your hands behind to support your neck. Exhale, draw your belly in, lift yourself up using your abdominals. Now I'm going to talk you through a few cues here to help you make sure that you're getting your core and your abdominals working and that you're not using other muscles that like to come in and play. So feel like your ribs are coming together and that you're bringing your pubic bone towards your ribs. Feel that your back maintains the same position. So we don't want it to be dipping down into the mat. We want it to be maintaining that natural space underneath. Your belly button deepens and pulls away from your pants and stays deepened the whole time. So there's no sensation of blasting of your abdominals into your pants. And there is also no tension on your neck. So your hands are there as a pillow for your head, and you're just using your core for this movement. Now we're going to start to integrate some additional movement. As you come up, extend your leg out, gliding it along the floor. Bring it back in and switch. Start to feel a connection here to your pelvic floor. And when we connect all those together, your deep abdominals, pelvic floor, rectus abdominis, then you actually allow a release across the front. So your hip flexors here are not screaming loud and getting tired. And this is coming back to that important work of the relaxation and the tension, working simultaneously together with your breath. And of course, this plays a huge part in your running because we need the muscles to turn on when we want them to and to turn off when we want them to. Stay with me here, last two. Last one. Very good, head comes down, hands reach forward, hug your knees in. Now continue holding on to your right leg and lengthen your left leg out along the floor. Try to get that release across your hip flexor in the front on the left, as I was talking about, and feel that the back of your leg is active underneath. Right leg extends out, external rotation, hands down by your sides, circling around. Now coming back, we're trying to keep your pelvis and hips stable here. And just circling around, again, hip mobility. So I'm externally rotated. Femur is rotating in the hip socket. Switch directions with your circle. It is not important how big your circle is or how close up to your face you get it. It's about maintaining the pelvis stability, core connection, and trying to keep your legs straightened out so you'll get some work there in your hamstring. Last two. Hug both knees in again. Gently rocking side to side. And then release the right, lengthening it out along the floor. Holding your left in. Just letting that right hip flexor release. And then extend your left leg out. External rotation, circling around. Now this actually takes a lot of core work here to keep your pelvis in position. Really be mindful of you wanting to tip over on either side and try to get that into control. Switch directions with your circles. Shoulders relax, ribs come together for 3, 2, last one. Very good, hug both of your knees in. Just gently rocking from side to side as you need to. And then take your hands behind your hamstrings. Exhale as you draw yourself up into your upper abdominal lift. Feel the deepening here from your abdominals working. Keep your hands behind your hamstrings. Double leg extension and release. Exhale, lengthen and release. So you'll probably find or realize pretty quickly that we're doing some work here for your hamstrings while connecting to your deep core. Feel that your belly button draws in. Try to release any tension that you have up in your neck and shoulders, and see if you can come through this with a really rounded spine underneath of you. It's a challenge for me as well. Exhale, really feel that deepening. Hollow out your belly. Press your legs long. 3, 2, last one. Now take both hands just to your right leg, single leg kick, or your scissors. Exhale, drawing it in. Feel that upper abdominal lift. Hamstring work, core work, lengthening out. Stay strong. 3, 2, last one. Bring it down. Let yourself release there. And then as you're ready, keep holding onto your hamstrings and bring yourself up. We're going to transition over to your left side. Bring yourself down. Again, you can be lengthened out here, or you can be up with your head in your hand. Knees are bent. Find that work coming from your core. So narrowing of your waist here with your abdominals engaged. Hips and pelvis neutral. Starting here, heels stay together. Open up and release. So as you open, we're getting some abduction here on the right side. Feeling your glute and hamstring working. And as you close down, and try to get your adductors working here in the center. Just imagine that you are wading through water. So you have to resist to open, resist to close. And of course, lots of strong core work coming to help you facilitate that. 3, 2, last one. Top leg straightens out. Draw your belly in, exhale, pull forward, press back. So really try to keep that stability through your pelvis, not letting yourself fall forward or backwards. You can have your top hand here. You can have it down here for your balance. Whatever you find that you need. And it doesn't matter how far forward your leg comes. It's more important that you can keep your neutral pelvis and not allow it to dump forward or back in order to get your leg forward further. Again, we're practicing that hip flexion for your running stride. We're practicing the connection from your core. 3, 2, last one. Now hold it out long, external rotation, back to parallel. External rotation, back to parallel. So working here through your femur, rotating in your hip socket. Getting that hip mobility. And find it coming right from your center. So feel you're drawing your belly in, exhaling to rotate. Inhale back to parallel. 3, 2, last one. Now leave externally rotated. Toes come together, knees come together. External rotation, internal rotation. Encouraging your hips to move freely in the hip socket, releasing any locking or jamming up you may be prone to, whilst maintaining stability through your pelvis. Thinking about yourself running. No, of course we don't want your legs to be internally or externally rotating while you're running, but we want your hips to be mobile and free. 3, 2, last one. Excellent job. Now bring yourself up. We're going to come into your child's pose, just to stretch out there through your glute on the right, and then do some work up here. So just allow yourself to really open up, stretching out. And then bring yourself up into your 4-point kneeling. So knees line up underneath your hips, palms underneath your shoulders. We're going to do some work for your spine and your thoracic spine in particular. So let's just start with some cat. So tuck your tailbone under, draw your belly in, round up through your spine. And then come through in the other direction. Inhale, pressing your head through, pulling your palms towards you. Exhale, rounding. Inhale, releasing. Now when we run in the sagittal plane, forward and backwards, and our spine pretty much stays in the same positioning. When we do this, coming through spinal flexion, like this, rounding. Extension, like this, coming up. We're allowing it to move in different directions and decompress, as I spoke to earlier. In a moment, we're going to work through some rotation and into your thoracic spine. So come to your neutral spine, lengthened out here. Thoracic spine is the area that is right by your shoulder blades, and we need that to be able to rotate during running. So start with your left hand. Exhale, fold underneath, presenting your chest to the screen. Feeling like you are rotating under, not just bending at your arm. And then come around, opening up. Again, exhale, rotate under. I want you to imagine that someone has their palm, the palm of their hand, on your back between your shoulder blades, and you're trying to present it around to face the screen. So really encouraging rotation, not simply movement or bending or working through your standing arm. To do that, really feel your core engaging underneath, ribs together, draw your belly in. Last one on this side. Plant that palm down, coming through here, opening up, twisting underneath. So when we run, we want to have thoracic rotation and some freedom through our thoracic spine. That allows your arms to integrate with your running and improve your movement and propulsion. If you're not sure, next time you're running, try to run without your arms moving and rotating, just stuck to your sides. And you'll see that there is a degree of rotation that is required. Last one there. Now just press it back, opening up. And really let your arms come out. And instead of having your shoulders jam up in here, really try to plant them down in. And have them pressed right down in there. And then bring yourself to your forearms. We're going to do a little bit of work on your glutes and on your feet. So from here, feel your core engaging underneath, starting with the right side. Extend your right leg back. Leave it lengthened out straight, point, and flex. Now I want you to really imagine that you are trying to drive through your heel when you press it back and you plantar flex. And drive through your toe as you dorsiflex. So get the work happening all the way up your posterior chain. I do not don't need to tell you as runners, obviously, how important your feet are and how much we need to work them. So really think about that this is about your feet doing the work. Okay, last one there. And then plantar flex. Bend, press, press, press. Core is engaged underneath. This is hip extension again. Find that the work is happening right where your glute and hamstring meet. I want them to be squeezing in together at the top, and imagine that you're stamping your heel on the ceiling. Last 3, 2, last 1. Now bring your knee down so that it's in line with your other knee. Open out to the side, close back in. So work here on your adductors, that's your inner thigh, to close in and open. Work on your glute and abductors on the side. Find that connection. Last 3, 2, last 1. Yes, very good. Bring yourself down now all the way to your stomach. Just stretch your arms out, let your body completely lengthen. From here, lift your legs, your feet up off the floor. A little bit more footwork here. Eversion, inversion. Eversion, inversion. Now you can bring your hands down if this is more comfortable, but I really want you to feel that you are turning your feet out, turning them in. Good work here for your ankles and your feet. Now bring them down to lay on the mat and bring your legs together. We're going to do a bit of back extension. So take your hands so that your thumbs are pretty much in line with your nose. And then bring yourself down, your forehead is going to be on the floor to start. On your exhale, core engages underneath. Peel yourself up off the mat, getting a sensation of pulling your palms towards you as you come through back extension. And then stick yourself back down. Continue on at your own pace. Healing up. Drawing your ribs together underneath. And sticking back down. And I want this to be more like your palms are pulling down towards you, not pressing in away from you. This allows you to make the work happen in your back. And as we talked about before, this mobility through your back is critical. One more here. And then press yourself all the way back into your child's pose. Just allow yourself to release through there again. This is flexion for your spine. And we just did extension. And flexion is the counter stretch, so it feels really quite nice. And then bring yourself forward again onto your forearms. Sit yourself up. Draw your belly in underneath. Left leg extends. Footwork to start. Flex and point. Imagine you are drawing a line all the way from your heel, up your leg, up your back, out the crown of your head. Really getting that strong core connection and driving your leg all the way. 3, 2, last one. Maintain dorsiflexion, bend, press up. And by that I meant plantar flexion, sorry. So heel is pressing towards the ceiling. Find your core connecting underneath. Feel like there is a suction cup on the inside of your belly or belly button that is pulling it up towards the ceiling. And you're squeezing right in between your hamstring and glute. Last 3, 2, last 1. Now bring it down in line, open out to the side, control, close back in. If this is too difficult to do on your forearms and it just feels like your knee is going to hit, you can do it out to the side or up on your palms like this. But really keeping control of your knee and foot in a line. Abduction, adduction, core work. Last 2. Last 1. Yes, bring it down. Just bring yourself back here now and peel yourself up. And then come on down into your Z-sit position. So we want your left foot to be on your right inner thigh. Sit yourself up tall. Find that lengthening down like you're trying to be up as tall as you can. And then left forearm comes down to the mat. Right arm crosses overhead. Lateral flexion here. We spend all of our time running in the sagittal plane going forward and back. And it's really important for us to come to the side like this. Lateral work. Unravel. Other direction. Feel that you're folding on the inside, lengthening out, stretching down the other side. Go again. Folding across. One more over here. And then release from there. Straighten out your right leg. Left foot is going to stay towards your right inner thigh. Start with yourself facing forward. Arms extend out. And then rotate towards your straight leg. Pelvis stays forward, so I'm rotating through my chest and thoracic spine. And then exhale, fold forward, pull your belly in, spinal flexion. And then rotate towards your bent knee. And when you do this, you should feel a glorious stretch right in here. That's your quadratus lumborum muscle. Really important for connecting your pelvis to your spine. Really important to stretch and work it, especially when we think about how much of running we rely on for our pelvis and spine to be connected. Release from there. Unravel. Restack. Face forward. Inhale. Exhale, rotate. Fold forward. Twist. Very good. Unravel from there. Now we're going to do a little bit of work before we transfer over to the other side. So take your hands behind you. Feel yourself really sit up, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, up into your front plank. Feel your core connecting. Right leg lift, lower, left leg lift, lower. Alternating here. Trying to keep that core connection, not letting your butt drop down. Shoulders working, squeezing together behind you, not letting them come down here like this. Really good work for your breath. One more on either side. And then flip yourself over. So you're going to come now through your plank front. Lengthening out. Find that strong work here in your plank. A little bit of footwork to start. Press your heels back. Pull them forward. Imagine that you're driving through your heels and then pulling your feet towards you. Core control. Now pause, neutral. Right leg, lift, down. Left leg, lift, down. Spinal lengthening. Find your belly button pulling up, away from your pants underneath. This, of course, is hip extension, hamstring glute work. Stay strong. One more on either side. Very good. Come down. Bring your feet and legs to the right side. Sit yourself up tall. Find that you're grounded down. And then come down onto your left forearm, folding over to the right side. Bring yourself up. This is the side we already did, so I'm actually going to flip you, my mistake. Sit yourself up tall, come down onto the right forearm, left side comes over. There we are. Really pressing through with your fingers. Find that lateral stretch all the way down, that work on the inside. Release, come on up. Top arm comes over. Right arm comes down, left comes across. We're trying to get the stretch on the side here and the fold on the inside here. Pressing across here. One more. Exhale as you fold across, and you may notice as you do these, each one, that you will get a little bit more availability to fold over. Or maybe not, and that's okay too. Last one here. And then release. Left leg lengthens out. Bring yourself to sit up tall. Facing forward, hips and pelvis are going to stay facing forward, arms extend out. Exhale, rotate towards your straight leg, draw your belly in, fold yourself over. Rotate towards your bent knee. Right down in here, feel that glorious stretch. Release, feeling it up. Again, folding over. Twisting open. Unravel from there, peeling yourself up, facing forward. Last one, exhale, draw your belly in, flexing, lateral flexing. Releasing. Bring yourself to a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. Rolling out your shoulders. Take a second to sit up really tall and proud. Proud because of the work you just did and for showing up to look after yourself and for doing something for your running that isn't running. I know as a runner myself, it's hard to commit to doing these things that we know we should, like all this mobility and strengthening work, because often we'd rather just be running. So well done for you. Inhale, take your hands out to the sides, bring them down till they land in front of your heart. Pause there. Give yourself a kind word, a compliment, some positive feedback for showing up and doing this, and the credit you deserve for doing that. Let me thank you as well for being here and doing this with me. Happy running, happy Pilates. Have an awesome rest of your day, and see you soon.